Jaguars 2024 training camp is in full swing. We're going to go into it right here on the Jaguar podcast. What's up, everybody? It's Andrew coming back at you with another episode. And today we're going to be going over some of the updates from Jaguars 2024 training camp. That is in full swing right now. Started, I believe, last week. But before we do that, make sure to hit that bell icon if you want to stay up to date with latest content and videos that I release. Also, if you'd like to support my work, hit that red subscribe button, hit that like button as well, too. It helps me with the algorithm. And also, we're a podcast, so check us out on all of the major podcast platforms. All right, now that we got that out of the way, the Jags started training camp, I believe it was last week. July 24th. Overall, a pretty positive reception and reporting on the Jaguars defense. So that's really good to hear. But Trevor got a kind of off to a little bit of a rough start, threw some picks in the end zone there. That was being reported by some of the Jags beat reporters on Twitter, rather. So Brian Thomas Jr., rookie that we drafted in the first round, out of LSU. He's been looking really good, so that's awesome to see. Jerry and Jones, he's looking really good. Corner we drafted out of Florida State. That's good to hear. There's some injury updates as well. The Jags have kind of gotten off to a rough start with injuries. Anton Harrison, he's out on concussion protocol. He's the Jags right tackle that we drafted out of Oklahoma. So that is not good to hear. And then also Jaguars left tackle Cam Robinson is out with a shoulder injury. So they will likely, I will say it's unknown whether they're going to participate in the first preseason game against the Chiefs, but time will tell. So that's not good. Ezra Cleveland, he was out. I believe he has a leg injury. So the Jaguars left guard, he will not be likely will not be playing in the preseason game. We'll kind of track that day to day, but I imagine they're not going to want to put him out on the field and lose him potentially for the rest of the season or a couple weeks if he re-aggravates that leg injury. Also forgot to mention, by the way, Eric Armstead will be coming back soon. I think he's going to be coming back off the PUP list soon. He had, I believe it was a knee surgery but yeah, he should be coming back, and hopefully that's going to be huge. I don't imagine us seeing him in the preseason. I think it's just too risky. Yeah, not looking good for the Jags going into first preseason game against the Chiefs, but it'll give an opportunity for some of the other guys like Walker Little to get some reps. Maybe we see maybe Javon Carter, who we drafted. Maybe he gets some reps there at left tackle. Maybe we see Blake Hance kind of, or Cole Van Lanen maybe working in there at the tackle spot. But yeah, those are some of the injury updates. Let's go into some of the positions. There's going to be some player battles, really, or position battles going on in camp. I think one of the ones that we'll likely see first is, at quarterback. We brought in Mac Jones. We got him in a trade with New England. So, the Jags typically carry two quarterbacks on the roster. So I think CJ Beathard and Mac Jones are going to be battling out there for that second spot. I honestly see Mac Jones running away with this one, just with how he's been looking at camp. But we'll see what happens there. At running back, we did what we usually do in the draft, right? We've drafted running backs, I believe, 3 drafts in a row. So, there's going to be a battle there, I believe, between, who's going to get that third running back spot, because the Jags typically carry 3 running backs. So, last season it was ETN, Tank Bigsby, and Dearness Johnson. So we drafted Keelan Robinson out of Texas. So I think he's going to be fighting there and battling really mainly with Dearness Johnson, or even potentially Tank Bigsby, depending on how he's doing in camp. But from what I've been hearing on social media, Tank Bigsby is having a good camp. The coaches are happy with him. So We'll see, but it'll be interesting to see who gets that third running back spot, whether it's Dearness Johnson or whether it's Keelan Robinson. But stay tuned for that. Wide receiver, that will be a position group to look out for. I think the Jags will likely be carrying 6 wide receivers. So, our number one being Christian Kirk. We have Gabe Davis there, Devin Duvernay, Brian Thomas Jr., I think will be starting there, and then Parker Washington. So it'll be interesting to see maybe who gets that 6th spot there, because we have, I believe his name is Joshua Cephas, who's a undrafted free agent who's been looking really good in camp. Coaches are really impressed with his performance. So I think he's going to be battling it out there with Tim Jones or Elijah Cooks to see if they can who wins that spot. So stay tuned for that one as well. On the special teams front, we had signed Riley Patterson, our kicker that essentially helped us get into the playoffs with that huge win against the Chargers in the first round. So he was actually waived. We drafted Cam Little out of Arkansas, who's really had a good camp. So I think he's going to get that number one kicker spot, but he's been hitting some really long field goals, I think even out from 60 yards. So that's impressive, but hate to see Riley go. We waived him twice. I think we cut him last season too, or last off season, like when we were in training camp. So hate to see that. I like Riley. I'm a huge fan of him, but best of luck to him. Another spot that I think there's going to be some battles with our battles in terms of the position group is defensive line. So I think likely the starters will be Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker at defensive end, and then you have Eric Armstead, and then you have Roy Robertson-Harris there as the interior lineman. So, but yeah, defensive line, a lot of battles going on there. Obviously, we have D-Ham, who we resigned last year. He's kind of coming off an off, kind of a not a good 2023 season. He was pretty quiet, but they're saying he's looking really good in practice. So I think Adam Gotsis as well. I think he could battle it out potentially with Mason Smith, who we drafted out of LSU, and Jordan Jefferson. I believe he is hurt. I was listening to a press conference today on Sunday. This is when I recorded the video, but Mitch Morse was saying that Jordan Jefferson was hurt. So who knows what's going to happen there, but there's a lot of competition at that position. With Jeremiah Ledbetter, who was, who did pretty decent last season. So, I'm just curious to see who wins that, maybe that second spot on the defensive line, that second, spot there, or even third spot, right? Tyler Lacey, guy that we drafted last year out of, I believe it was Oklahoma State. He is going to be battling, I think, for a third spot there with those guys. So, a lot of competition there. Be interesting to see who ends up on the roster, because we have a lot of defensive tackles. But, they wanted to bring in some aggression there at that position. Ryan Nielsen, I think he's really working with those guys, helping them develop. I've seen some videos that were posted on Twitter where I think a lot of people are responding well to Ryan Nielsen. He's getting the guys kind of G'd up on the defensive line. And I think that'll be really exciting to see. I think at another spot to look out for, I think, is the cornerback spot. I think there's going to be a lot of competition there. I think likely what it'll be is the two corners will be Tyson Campbell and Ronald Darby, a player we picked up in the offseason from the Ravens and free agency. But, Jerrion Jones, he's a competitor. You have Christian Braswell too. A lot of corners on this roster, so it'll be tough to see who wins those second and third spots there, second, third string spots. A lot of competition there. Those are kind of some of my thoughts and updates on training camp. Let me know how you guys feel. Do you feel like the Jags are going to be kind of coming into the preseason in a good spot? I know they have some injury trouble, some things they're dealing with. It always seems like we have injuries. It's just the thing with the Jaguars. I don't know if it's the heat. I don't know what it is, but we always seem to struggle with injuries. But do you think there's any position group that's of concern? I think right now offensive line could be a concern just with the injuries that we've had. I think there's also going to be some competition there at the guard spot. Forgot to mention that, but Fortner and Cooper Hodges. I think they're going to kind of be battling it out for the second center spot or third center spot there. I know Shatley is probably going to be the second center, but Fortner and Hodges can also play guard, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I mean, maybe Fortner secures a second or third spot there at the guard spot. But let me know how you guys feel. Leave me a comment on the YouTube video or podcast episode. Hit that red subscribe button again if you enjoy my work. Hit that like button. Helps me with the YouTube algorithm. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Duval! What's up, everybody? It's Andrew from the Jaguar Podcast. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as always. And remember, this is a podcast, so you can find this pretty much wherever you find podcasts. Subscribe to it. Go Jags, and I'll see you next time.